Hello and welcome to FPS Coach. My name is Rambo Kim, and in this video I'm going to share with you guys my stretching and posture maintenance routine. But before we get into that, I want to show you a really nice product to help maintain good posture, and this is called the Primate Posture Brace. So it's two straps that you put around your shoulders, and then you tighten it up by pulling up on two ends and then velcroing it on top of some velcro straps. So what it does is forces your shoulders in a nice posture position, so pretty much the opposite of a forward rolled over position, and just helps, just forces it in place in all the right positions. And it's something that I'll use anytime I'm on the computer when I'm not playing games, or also just like wear it around the living room, or just generally whenever I'm not on the computer. So if you're interested in that, I'll leave a link in the description to where you can get one. So before I start my stretching routine, I just start lightly with rolling out my wrist joints and popping my fingers and just loosening all those muscles up. And then here I'm doing some hamstrings, getting the back of the legs stretched out. And guys, for anyone that is a beginner stretcher or someone that's looking to get into it, please keep in mind that it's you're not trying to stretch to your maximum ability. Like, you're not trying to get to your max stretch point and then stress that. It's about getting to that feeling where you do feel like your muscles are getting stretched a little bit, and then slowly stretching to a point where you're at your comfort level. And always when you're stretching, make sure you're always breathing through. That oxygen that's gonna be going into your body helps your ability to stretch even more, but also just gets all the cells flowing through your body. So here I was just rolling out my shoulders and neck, just doing some really light stretches, getting a little piece of every part of the body before I go into a little bit deeper stuff. So here I'm doing some shoulder rolls where I feel like my shoulder joints are being stretched from the full circular rotation, and I'm keeping my hands away from my body. And also during this, I'm keeping my core engaged and my back straight, and always constantly breathing through my stretches. And here, just leaning against the wall and then getting my hips and my hip flexors. I did leg day yesterday at the gym, so my lower body's a little bit more sore than usual, so I'll spend more time focusing on my lower body today, or in this particular video. And for me, like, stretching, I don't have an exact time of how I do things or an exact sequence for the most part. I like to stretch depending on how my body feels and what I feel like I need to work on and the areas I need to target. So here, I don't know what this stretchy rubber band thing is called, but this is great for keeping my arms and shoulder in a good alignment while I'm doing these rotations. And here I feel like, again, my hands are far away from my body, and then when I get to the top, I feel like my hands are reaching away from my head, so full extension. And here I'm getting the inner side of my back shoulder blades. And then always, guys, stay hydrated. Always have water on hand. As you can see, I love my water. Again, targeting the hamstring. Getting to that point where I feel like my muscles stretched, and then slowly stretching to a point where I feel like I'm satisfied with the area. And here doing a deep squat stretch, again getting the inner thighs and my butt, and rotating to different positions so I can get different angles. And I love these shoulder rolls. Here I'm getting the sides of my body, so like the left and right side of my rib cage. And again, deep squat. And this particular muscles, like the hip flexors and like where your like in between, like on the sides of your groin area, right? The hip flexors. Those are an area that we often don't use as gamers as we sit. So those parts of the muscle stay inactive. So it's really great to stretch those and be active. And in either stretching or exercise those area of muscles, otherwise they're going to do something called atrophy. And atrophy is something where if you don't use a muscle, then it degrades and like eventually just disappears. When that happens, you start having imbalances in your movement, your flexibility, and your ability just to do any physical activity. So, a lot of people these days, they're often sitting at the office or at the computer like 8 to 9 hours a day, and your muscles are slowly dying if you're not using them or activating them. So we've got to be able to counterbalance our kind of stale, stagnant sitting positions with stretches and exercises. And I'm going to adjust the camera here. Apologies for a little wobbliness. It'll even out here in a second. But this is a foam mat, a yoga mat. And before I use the foam roller, I like to tuck the back of my shirt into my pants so the shirt doesn't roll over on itself and get caught. And here, I love this exercise. I don't know what it's called, but it's great for rolling out any knots in the back of my back. And this is by far one of my favorite posture maintenance / soreness relieving exercises or stretches. And here I'm expanding my chest here. I feel like air is completely filling in my lungs and diaphragm, and I was reaching back, and that helps stretch out my back shoulder blades and then as well as my neck. And here just doing some slight rotations. If you could have heard the microphone there, it would have been like a ton of popping noises. Again, just rolling out the back. I feel like my core is super tight and engaged there. Like you don't want a super arched back while doing that, which helps also roll out those knots a little bit better. And here I feel like my heels are towards my body, and I'm helping that even more by pulling on the front side of my feet. And here I was trying to keep a straight back. And this is great again for like the upper thighs and the hip flexors. And then rolling out my neck as well. I always try to stretch my neck because sometimes when I'm playing games or I'm on the computer, I'll have like a forward neck lean position, or I'm like focusing on the crosshair, and then all that forward weight with my head puts my neck in a compromised position. So, and here, this is a great way to get the back and the shoulder blades. So I feel really extended. My hands are far away from my butt as possible. Again, I have that filling my lungs, my diaphragm with air. And then I feel like my elbows are pointing towards each other or towards the ground during this. I don't want those elbows flared out. And here another great stretch to get the hip flexors and the hips. And I'm just gently rolling to get to different angles. And I heard from a few physical therapists or trained doctors or experts with physiology saying how as we get older, the things that we should focus on primarily, or not primarily, but we should really do focus on are the joints. So, things that cause rotation like our wrists, our elbows, our neck, our knee joints, and our hips and hip flexors. And because those are the areas where that allows us to bend and move, and there's what connects our chain, the parts of chains of our body, and allows us to be flexible and just do pretty much any activity. So yeah, there's you should also get stronger by focusing on your muscles, which are everything in between the joints. I like to have a balance of both. And here I'm just laying flat on the floor, again really filled up lungs and diaphragm with full oxygen. and stretching my hands as far as away from my feet as possible. And sometimes when we play games, we have kind of a caved in position where our lungs and chest are like caved in and they feel hollow. Well, this just flattened out position is great for opening up your chest and your lungs and your abs. And here is doing some rotation work and also targeting the leg joint where the hips are. And just moving my legs around because I try to target as many angles as I can. And the joints, since they're kind of like a ball in a way, and they have a big range of motion, I want to be able to target that full range of motion by moving my arms and legs and body as I need to get all the various angles. And here I'm stretching the back of my neck. So I saw Mike Tyson do this in a boxing strength exercise, so I started to implement this not too long ago. And again, it's great for helping that forward head position that we have as gamers. And here, I'm just rolling out the top side of my shoulders, so kind of my neck area and my traps. And again, here, just finishing off with some hip flexors and hips. And then here I am rotating, just trying to get various positions. In this position here, this is getting my sides like my obliques and the sides of my whole left and right chest area. Okay, so after I feel like I'm satisfied with my stretches, I'm doing a breathing technique that I've learned from William Hoff, William H-O-F. I'll leave a link in the description to who this man is. He's set all kinds of records. He's climbed Mount Everest in shorts. He's walked tens and 20 of miles in the desert with just his shorts and some water. And he owes it all to this breathing technique where you're essentially inhaling as much oxygen and exhaling as much carbon dioxide in 20 to 30 breaths. So I feel like I'm taking in as much oxygen as possible and then breathing it all out. And what he's saying, what this does is that it alkalinizes your body. So the opposite of being acidic. So you have like a pH scale of acid to alkaline. Well, we're alkalining your body here. I don't know if that's how you say it, but I hope you guys get what I mean. And what happens is I feel like it's kind of like you're getting high. Like it feels like you can feel your body get a little bit tingly. And you can feel the physical effect of taking in all this oxygen. And at first, if you want to try doing this, I would recommend sitting and doing it. Or actually, go ahead and watch William Hoff's video if you're interested. He'll show you exactly the techniques to do this. But I love the way this makes me feel at the end. It feels like my body, again, it feels like a high. And it feels like my body's light and tingly. And because your body has so much oxygen at this point, it's like your breath slows down and your body doesn't actually need that much oxygen for like another 30 seconds to a minute because your body is just so infused and filled with oxygen. So here, just, in a great feeling, feel at peace. My body feels really loose. I've taken care of all my aches and sores, and now I've just flushed myself with oxygen. And again, just getting a little bit more of those hip flexors and waist area because of the leg day yesterday. So I want to make sure I focus on the areas that I really need. So here, just finishing off with another way of targeting my rear shoulder blades and the sides of my body. I was doing some of these stretches on the floor, but you can also just use a wall or a corner. And I just love this feeling of just that full stretch on my left and right side of the body. And This is a position that we're naturally in as people or humans, but so these stretches are a great way to target those areas. Again, stay hydrated, friends. Keep your body energized with water and oxygen, and take care of it with good stretches. And I promise you it'll make you feel better, but it'll also help you play games because your body will be in a more healthy situation. So hopefully this video was helpful in some way. If it was, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to stay up to date.